Okay, today I'm going to cook supper for all the ladies here. Corey's here, staying the weekend with us, and I had a hankering for some deer meat on the grill. And I'm going to do a backstrap on the grill and marinate it and cook it on the grill. So first step in it is I like to tenderize them a little bit. You know, a lot of people think you don't have to do that, but they can be a little bit tough if you don't. And all I do is just use a fork and just job a bunch of holes in it on both sides, and then I'll make up the marinade and let it soak for a little while until it gets supper time. Alright, now I'm going to make the marinade for this meat, and what I do generally is just, once I get it made up, I put it in a, or actually make it in a gallon Ziploc bag. Put the marinade and all the seasonings in there and then mix it up real good, and then put my meat in there and kind of push the air out and seal it up and just let it sit in this bag for, I don't know, a couple, 2 or 3 hours until it's time to start cooking. And then once we start cooking, I'll save this marinade and kind of baste it on the grill as it's going to keep it from getting too dry. And this is kind of a homemade type of thing that I kind of made up several years ago, probably 25 years ago, and it's just olive oil, and it's none of it's measured, it's just eyeball like I always do. And that may seem like an awful lot of olive oil, but we'll go back and baste the meat as it's cooking to kind of keep it moist, and we'll generally use most of that. And then the next thing is shake in some Worcestershire sauce, and it's, once again, it's just by sight. And then a little bit of black pepper. A little garlic powder. A little bit of oregano. Sometimes I'll put parsley in there with it too, just to have a little bit of extra pieces to look at. And then I'll generally, if I've got it, add just a little drizzle of honey in there to give it just a little pinch of sweet. I'll just drizzle it back and forth in there, and then I'll just use my fingers and kind of work that stuff together inside the bag and then drop the meat in it. And then as you work the air out of the bag, it will make the liquid kind of raise up a little bit, and make sure it's all the meat's covered. And I'll just keep pushing on it until the liquid gets up to about the zipper. I don't want it to come out of it, but get up right up under the zipper and then zip it shut. So what you end up with is something that looks like that right there. And ever so often, in the time between now and then when I go back and get ready to cook it, I'll come in here and just kind of work it with my hands a little bit to be sure it all gets incorporated good on the meat and around the meat. And then it'll be ready to cook shortly. So we're going to have baked potatoes with this too, so I'm going to get those ready, and I'll just poke holes in them with a fork. And then put a little olive oil on them and just stick them in the oven, no aluminum foil or nothing. I just pick them up and smear it in my hands. It's kind of oily and greasy, but it's alright. And they just go in the oven on about 400 degrees for about an hour. Sometimes a little more than an hour, according to how big the potatoes are. An hour and a half's not going to hurt them. But that's how we do it.
Matt's melting some butter. He's got some garlic in there, minced garlic. He's going to make us some garlic bread on the grill since he's going to grill the deer tenderloin. I just bought a loaf at the grocery store, and he's cutting up the slices. He's going to drench them in this wonderful goodness and then grill them.
I'm going to get the charcoal started. This is a little bit redneck way to do it, but it works really well. Started on the propane. These things are made to use like newspaper or something in them to get it going. To always put it on this just because it's so much faster and easier. Let that go a minute or so till it really starts smoking good, and you can see through the sides of it the charcoal under it on the bottom's glowing. And when it gets that way and it starts smoking heavy, then that's good enough. Alright, we're going to put the back straps on. It won't be long, we'll be eating supper. These don't take, according to how you want them cooked, I like them a little more on the bare side. And it'll flare up a little, but it'll settle down here shortly. If it flares up too much, you can move it around. I kind of like that little bit of char on it myself. That's the way I like to eat meat.
Looks like Matt's made us a real feast. We're going to let the pregnant ladies go first.
Thank you.
He made it for all his girls, but I'll let them go first.
And boys.
Well, and boys. Several people have commented that, said, you know, you're actually feeding your grandchildren.
Aww.
Yeah, sweet.
It's very true when you
Yeah.
think about it like that.
Sweet.
And this one's hungry.
The only thing I did was make the salad, and that was easy. And then we have some of Corey's great salad dressing to go with it. I think Corey has a video about the salad dressing, so we'll try to link to that. Everything looks delicious.
I want this little crusty piece, maybe. This salad looks so good, Mama.
I don't know if I'll eat a whole piece.
Holy cow. And I think can I take the butter to the table?
Just take it to the table.
I'm just going to get a half of a potato. I'm actually really hungry these days, but I don't have a lot of room left, so I have to eat smaller amounts at a time. And then if I need to come back for seconds, I will. But this will be good. Oh, I just slung some salad out. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I mean to. I did. I slung out some salad.
Grilled tenderloin is such a treat. It's Matt's favorite way to eat the deer meat. It's a treat for all of us, though. Now, Katie, I beat you. I threw one on the floor.
It's happening.
Best salad dressing ever.
You still throwing stuff on the floor?
Yeah. I know this is gonna be good. I think Corey's got you one over here.
Which the fuck they wasn't that?
Yeah. Yeah, pizza. You should watch them.
Luigi's.
This was from a place in Swanee. Twin something, I think. I don't know if they rated this or not. Maybe.
Delicious supper. I'm glad. Give him that a hand.
That was so good. Oh my
Really,
gosh.
so good.
That was really good.
And then we have a great dessert that Corey made us, a peach cobbler, and I think she's going to share the recipe in a video, so you can be on their channel, the Presley Girls. You can be on the lookout for that. And she even made us some whipped cream to go with it.
I didn't eat any earlier. Remember I said I was saving
Katie
it.
was saving hers. We've already tasted it. And
Oh, I ate some, but I ate one little piece,
is
but I did never get a
it
plate or
is
nothing.
so good. Making it in the cast iron, Corey said, and it's true. Now we've experienced it. Really gives the crunchy little edges. That's always my, here you go, always my favorite part of cobblers anyway.
I don't want a big piece because I've already ate this once today. It's so good though.
Okay, I'm going to enjoy. Y'all get yours. What a delicious meal, and so nice to eat with Corey and Katie and Matt. Really nice. Of course, we miss Austin, but he's visiting with his parents this weekend, helping them do certain things. So Corey's batching with us. Is that what you call it? Batching? Yeah. With us. So that's been really nice. Austin and Corey on the house front still haven't sold their house, but they have had really an increase in showings, and of course when they're showing the house, Corey can't be there anyway, and I think they had 2 yesterday or 2 today and 1 yesterday and maybe about 3 tomorrow. So hopefully we're prayerful that one of those people will decide it's the perfect house for them and buy the house so that Corey and Austin can move forward with buying my brother Steve and sister-in-law Kim's house. So really exciting.
Just the ball rolling.
Get the ball rolling, yeah. Really exciting. A few people, and mostly in Corey and Katie's videos, not in ours, but have asked really, well, why, Corey, why are you moving? Your house is so nice. And it is a nice house. But now that they're gonna have a baby, it's only got 2 bedrooms, and it's got 2 really steep sets of steps in it, stairs. It's got, I guess it's a 3-story house if you count, because the bottom level. Anyway, so they want more room. That's one thing, Of course, it'll be nice for them to be by us, so they can help us, and we can help them. All those things. But it's in a really nice place. But it's more of a, what would you say, a populated. It's not really a subdivision, but
it's kind of a subdivision. You got close neighbors, not real super side by side close, but close enough. And their parking is a little limited, so
moving over here, they'll be much more, I guess, remote kind of. Even though they'll be close to us, we're not right in their face.
Right.
And Granny and Paul's close, but not right in their face. So.
And then that house too, that's the end of the road. Nothing's behind it. Nothing can get behind it for a reasonable amount of distance, anyway. So.
And it's right on the creek, so that's nice.
Creek, yeah, it's way closer to the creek than we are.
So lots of different reasons why they would want to move. The top of the list, though, is just that it's a bigger house, differently laid out, and they'll have much more room for the coming little boy.
Plenty of room for a youngin' to run and play down there.
Yeah, that'd be nice too. And where they're at doesn't really have a yard, which is not really mattered to them. Corey's made it work as far as her garden, and her and Austin, they've done a lot of work in the yard, but it's still not really a great place for kids to play. And then it's right on the road, so you'd have to worry about the road, down here they wouldn't have to worry about that.
And down here you could just open a door and turn them loose, and that's as it should be, if you can do it.
Me and Corey are already and Katie trying to convince Matt and Austin to build a set of steps through the woods from here to there. At least a trail or something. Anyway, we're hopeful that with this spurt of showings, somebody will be enticed and really like it. And we hope for those people too. Maybe it's just what they're looking for, what they need.
It really is a nice house in a nice place.
Yeah, so... I'm talking about the place down there, though. This week we've had major changes. Thomas and his crew have been working, and they've got, I guess, almost all the trees cut.
They've got 2/3 of them cut anyway.
And so not much more to go, and it's just already amazing how much light is on the garden. Even we've had a real gloomy week. They've worked in the rain and the cold, so I really admire their work ethic. But amazing, even on those days, how much lighter the garden
There's more light coming through the living room window.
Yeah, there is. Even up here, there's more light. Yeah.
Man, it's amazing. Our backyard's even lit up a little differently, a little better.
It's changed things, yeah.
Even though the sun don't come from that direction, it's lightened it up some, just because you don't have that choked up undergrowth like what was there.
And talking about the creek, Matt took me out on the porch a little while ago and said, listen, and I was like, okay, what? But I didn't. He said, you can hear the creek better, and you can see it. We could see it. It's off, down there anyway. So that's going well, and can't wait to actually grow corn. It's going to have so much sunlight. Boy, it makes me wish Pap could see the sunshine that's going to be hitting it.
Yeah, that'd have tickled him to death.
It would have tickled him, yeah.
He's always, as each year went on, bothered by that, because it just each year was a little bit more shaded, and it didn't make as good, and that bothered him some. I mean, it didn't upset him. He wished it was.
He knew it would do better if it wasn't.
Right,
if it needs corn needs full sun. A lot of things need full sun, but especially the corn. Mm-hmm. So he knew that it would do better. And he was getting older in years, so he wasn't as
Yeah, he wasn't
able to do it. And Matt worked a full-time job, so it's a massive job. Of course, it wouldn't have been if we'd started when when we first moved in our driveway, but you never think of that. When the trees start growing, you're just busy living your life and not realizing, oh my goodness, those trees are getting big. Oh my goodness, they're shading the garden. Until they are, and then it's just a really big job. And we couldn't financially in those days, me and Matt certainly couldn't have paid somebody like Thomas to do it. So we're so thankful for that, and thankful that we're going to be able to grow corn to feed our family with, and share with Granny and my brothers, and it's going to be really great.
Yeah, it will be. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a whole bunch of work, but it'll be good work.
Yeah, rewarding, good work. Yeah. A few people I did share a little short where you could see a little bit of the progress. A few people on it mentioned about the deer. How would we keep the deer out? Well, of course, that's always a worry when you have gardens. Thankfully, right here where we're at, we have several dogs, and that helps prevent them from coming in and doing too much damage. But that, of course, that's going to be further away from our house, so that is something we'll have to think about. But it's not going to deter us from trying, at least. Matt's already talked about if he has to, he'll go down there and sleep in a hammock. Yeah, so we'll be thinking about that. But thankfully, there are enough dogs. It's funny, one of the dogs, a little beagle, he's pretty much had Thomas and his men treed about every day.
Yeah.
He just comes out there and barks at them.
Yeah, he just sits down and barks at the
Yeah,
machines and
yeah.
barks at them running their saws.
Yeah, so, but that is something, of course, we'll have to think about, and so, but hopefully the dogs, and then if we take any kind of measures too, that'll prevent him.
Right.
The farmer down the road that we've been getting corn from for the past several years, since we've not been growing any, and he has more trouble. He doesn't have it with the deer. He has more trouble with corn, and he's just not even a mile away. Has trouble with raccoons getting in his corn. So that's another thing you have to worry about. But that's more what he fights instead of the deer, and has to trap a lot of them.
There's plenty of coons here. Once they find a patch of corn, they'll climb up the stalks and
just
break them over
out.
and eat the ears off of them.
Yeah, wipe it out pretty quick if there's several of them.
Yeah.
So we'll have to think about that. But at least we've got the first step, and that's been so exciting this week. In that cold, wet weather, we all wanted to just stand out there and watch, but then it's kind of miserable. That's what made me feel really bad for them having to work in it. And we were just standing, but standing in the rain watching.
Yeah. And boys, they do real good work. And like you said, they got a good work ethic, because especially for their age, they're young, and they just worked right on through it, the sideways rain and the cold and the wind. And that first day that they worked was super windy, and on toward the evening, it dropped off real cold, and they just kept going. Just put on a coat, put on a toboggan, kept cutting, kept dragging.
Yeah. Another thing a lot of people have asked about is like the wood that they cut. Will we burn that for firewood? Unfortunately, most of it's not wood that we would burn. A lot of the sweet gums.
Yeah, sweet gums, and there's some poplar in there, and you can burn that, but it just burns up in a flash, and all the heat goes up the chimney, and it's just not, to me, it's not worth fooling with. So, I mean, basically what most of that was just trash trees is what I'd call them. They would have probably been able to make decent trees had it not been for the massive undergrowth under them, just like this whole place
Laurels
is.
and ivies under them.
And it just stunts their growth, and it's not good for any woodlot at all, or any forest anywhere. It's just terrible. And most places you go around here anyway are like that, because people don't burn the woods anymore like they once did, and not allowed to burn the woods like they once did.
It's too populated.
And people are fearful, and they think that's bad for the woods, and that's burning the woods is the very best thing that could possibly be done for it from a ecology or whatever you want to call it standpoint. kills disease, it kills bugs, it promotes and regeneration. It's good for the soil. You know, and it burns down the undergrowth and opens the woods up where the sunlight can get through the canopy of the bigger trees and regenerate. I guess people don't think that way anymore somehow or another, and it's kind of maddening to me because, I mean, I've seen it firsthand many times where a forest is burned, and then go back the next year and then look at it. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just the animals thrive, the trees thrive. It's just it's the best thing for you. But people've got away from that sort of thing.
And it's too populated now too. Is another thing.
Yeah, that's some of it. I mean, it would be hard to do that in a controlled way in some places.
I mean, most people just own an acre here or a lot here or whatever, and you can't really do it because somebody else owns a little bit next to you and a little bit.
Yeah, and then if the fire got out onto them, you'd be lost.
Be in trouble. And then when Matt talks about burning the woods, he's not talking about like a forest fire that just totally wipes out every tree in it. He's not. It's a different
like a control burn.
Control burn. It's not like just let's set the woods on fire and. Like a raging forest fire.
And back in the old days, all the old people did that on their own land. They would burn. They would ever so often. I don't guess they did it every year, but as it began to thicken up and get choked out by the undergrowth, they would burn it. They'd burn their because they knew the same thing. What I just said, they knew it was good for the woods.
Yeah, it was. I mean, like you said, people just did it. There are a few people here that still do it. In small measures. You
Yeah,
see
Tim down here does a little of it.
Right? Yeah, that's who I was thinking about. But different time that we're living in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have seen that there's terrible forest fires in Texas. I know we have a lot of viewers that watch from Texas. I'm so sorry. It sounds terrible. I hope that quickly, I seen that maybe weather was going to help put it out. I hope that happened, but that was really bad, and I hope if you're there or nearby that you're okay, and we're praying for you. But sad.
Yeah.
Another thing, people thinking about that in this time of the year, people used to do, and my family did this often, was to burn the garden before they started. They would burn off the garden, and lots of different, I guess, variations on that, how people would do it. In one way, it just cleans it off, and then, like Matt said, maybe the ashes help enrich the soil, and then about bug control and those kind of things. And then there's the people that would burn a smaller area, and then that's where they planted because then it warms up the soil, planted their lettuce, planted tobacco starts, different things like that, planted a patch of such, whatever it was. And then maybe even Pap told me they would do that and then even cover it and kind of hold the heat in because the ground would hold the heat. They were, in those cases, they were burning. They wouldn't just be burning the few dried weeds. It would be, they put actually wood on it. So then it gets a big enough fire that the ground does get warm enough to where you would want to hold the heat. But I can remember days of burning the garden when I was a girl. Matt just really outdid himself with the cooking.
Thank you.
It's hard to beat though, that grilled deer meat, isn't it?
That's my favorite meal if I'm ever on death row. You see to it that's what I get to eat.
Yeah.
My last meal. Even if you have to go kill it yourself.
Okay. Matt's a good cook. I'm lucky that he's a good cook and he likes to cook, so.
I enjoy cooking. I've always cooked.
What you remember the first thing you ever cooked was?
I can remember probably the first memory of what I've cooked was, I think it was like pancakes or something. So I think Daddy showed me how to do it. And then once I kind of caught on and learned it, then I just cooked them every day for I don't know how long, because I did like them, but then it kind of progressed from there. I don't remember much after that for a long time, but it kind of went from that when I was probably 8, 9 years old or 10 years old to later on cooking over a fire camping, and then I kind of began to pick up on how to cook different stuff. But yeah, I really do enjoy cooking. I always have. I think it's because I like to eat.
Yeah.
I love to eat.
I like to cook. I don't
Now,
remember.
there's a whole bunch of stuff that I don't know how to cook. But I can keep myself fed, in other words.
I don't remember what the first thing I learned how to cook was. I mean, maybe some eggs, frying eggs or scrambled eggs or something like that. Or, but I remember one of the things, like the big things that I wanted always to make was butterscotch pies. And Granny would she'd let me make anything I wanted to try to make, she'd let me. But my butterscotch pies were tasty, but they would run out, like they wouldn't firm up, but we'd eat them anyway.
Yeah.
And Pap, he liked to cook. He was a good cook. He was a pretty good cook.
Okay.
Yeah. When him and Granny first got married, Granny had a big family, and she said it's just how it worked that some of her older sisters were the ones that helped cook, and she just never did. She would, help clean up or be cleaning the house or doing whatever, but she just never really did cook. She just never did. So she said when her and Daddy was going to get married or talking about it or whatever, she said, "Now, Jerry, I can't cook. I don't know how to cook, so I won't be able to cook for you." And she said, Daddy told her, said, "Don't worry, Luzine, I'll teach you." So I guess he did. He did, I guess. Him and then after she was married, I'm sure her mother, she'd go back and let her show her how to do stuff. And then I know
She sure turned into a good cook.
Yeah, I know my Mama Marie taught her a lot of stuff too. She said that Pap's mother taught her a lot of things, and that she lived closer to her. So anyway, yeah, she turned into a good cook.
Yeah.
But she just didn't know how to cook then. I was really young when I first wanted to start cooking. Of course, I wanted to cook things that Granny didn't cook. I wasn't interested in cooking cornbread and the things I cook today, stewed potatoes and stuff like that, soupy potatoes, or any of the things, kilt lettuce and soup beans and stuff like that. I liked it. I just wasn't interested in it. I wanted to fix like lasagna or Mexican dishes or something. I wanted to do exotic things, what I thought was exotic.
And you went from that all the way back to
where I started.
Beans and cornbread.
Yeah.
It's hard to beat that.
Before I met Matt, I worked for a while at Clifton. That's, I say Moog. Is it Moog or is it Moog?
No,
I don't know. Anyway, now that's what it is. It's a plant. And I worked an evening shift. This was like probably a year before I met Matt. So I would have to be at work at maybe 3 and work 3 to 12 or something like that. I can't remember what it was. And then for a long time we were on overtime, so I worked like till 2 in the morning or something. But anyway, Granny worked then at a dress factory. So before I would leave for work, because I would want to take something with me, a lot of times I would cook supper, and I would cook stuff like that then. I would cook cornbread and fried squash or whatever if it's in the summer, and whatever kind of meat. And that way I could leave it for her and Pap to eat, but I could also take a plate with me so I'd have something to eat on my lunch break, which was, really at night. Mm-hmm. That was a rough shift, working like that.
I've done that. It's not nothing I want to do again.
I didn't.
Lots of people do it.
Yeah.
A lot of people do it for many years. I just couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. Daddy did it. Daddy didn't really work a night shift. He would work a double shift, which would go into the night. So he'd be working two shifts. And that's hard. I mean, it's hard to work that long and very little sleep and get up and go again. And then I had a job when me and you were dating, I guess, where I worked 7 at night to 7 in the morning, and I never could get to where I could sleep in the daytime. So almost no sleep, and then just have to go back and do it again. And it didn't take me long. I was about useless. I was going on no sleep. Mm-hmm. But some people prefer that shift, that nighttime stuff, and that's more power to you. I can't do it. I gotta go to bed.
I think one reason maybe some people like it, I found out I didn't like it. I mean, I didn't hate it, but I didn't especially like it. But I worked there a pretty good while, and it was like they were having like a really high production when I first started, and they were hiring lots of people. And then by the time I left there, it had slowed down, and there was just barely a handful of us left, and we even got moved to a different building and started doing a different job. But anyway, eventually that kind of dried up too, and so then I got moved to days. Well, that's when I really realized I did not like it, because then to go from at night when it was just like a skeleton kind of force, and it was quiet and there wasn't many people there, then to be thrown into the the day shift when everyone was there, every position was filled, and there was people and machines and noise and all that, I was just like in shock. I couldn't barely stand it. So that did not last long doing that. And then shortly after that, I got a job at Lake Logan where I met Matt in Haywood County. But yeah, I wonder if a lot of people though that like the second shift or third shift is they like it because of it's less people and quieter, kind of a calmer atmosphere. No matter what you're doing, if you were at a plant or if you were at, I guess even, I don't know, work, no matter what you worked, because most people are at home in the bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just know I can't do it. I couldn't even physically do it now. I couldn't keep myself awake. I did back then just because I knew I had to, but I couldn't do it now.
Yeah, I'm just actually looking back, I'm surprised I did it, but which was 3 to 12 wasn't as bad, but when I had to work the overtime and was working till 2.
And we didn't have any days off either. It was 7 to 7, 7 days a week. And
that was like something that they were doing.
Yeah, it was in a paper mill, and it was a construction job, and it never stopped. every 4 or 5 weeks they'd give us one night off, and then we'd go right back on and work another 4 or 5 weeks without a night off. And golly, it was rough.
Not like a shutdown, but like they were
really
focusing on redoing something.
Yeah, they were. It was a tore down part of the plant, and it was a rebuild, and it went on for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. I wasn't there that long, but it went on that long until they got it finished and back up and running. And I didn't know that was the shift I was going to have. I just got there, and that's what they said. And I got there early in the morning and just ended up having to go back home and come back that night. I almost didn't go, but I'm kind of glad now I did, just to get the experience of it all. I did work hard to get up to that point to get that job, but so I went ahead with it and did it for as long as it lasted.
Well, we've had a pretty nice day.
Yeah.
Pretty weather today. I took a chair and sit out in the sunshine. It felt so good.
Yeah, it was like 65, 67 degrees today.
Once the sun really was hitting you, it felt like summer.
Won't be long.
It's so odd to drastic change from just a few days ago when it was so chilly and cold and raining. Yeah.
It's supposed to be warm the next several days.
Early this morning I went and interviewed Johnny Robertson. If any local people might know who I'm talking about, but I think that folks will really enjoy it, so I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. He's very knowledgeable about Cherokee County, and of course he grew up here, and he's just a wealth of information about a lot of different things. But a lot of the focus of what we talked about was about the Culberson community, which is just my whole life. I just think of it as a community, and Granny lived there some when she was a child, so I'm very familiar with it. But he grew up there, so he talked about how when he was a boy, how it was, a bustling little place, not like it is today. So really, really interesting and really nice to talk with him and his lovely wife. And so I'm looking forward to sharing that with you in the coming days and weeks, and hope that you'll enjoy it, and hope I get to go back and talk to him some more.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Well, I guess we got everything cleaned up. We're
I reckon.
ready to fly up and roost like the chickens.
Yeah, we'll have to go lock them up. They ought to be on the roost by now.
Is that what people say? They're ready to fly up.
Ready to fly up. They're ready to get in the barns, what I used to say.
They're ready to go to the barn.
Yeah.
Won't be long, and we'll be changing the time.
Yeah, just.
I think it's like
this month.
Is it the next week or something?
It's this month. I don't know what day it is,
We'll
but it is this month.
Seems like it's staying lighter longer. Like right now, it normally would be dark.
Yeah, so it'll just be longer daylight hours to work in the evening, I guess, on the garden.
Yeah. Corn's gonna be your name.
That's gonna be my job.
Yeah.
I'm in charge.
Yeah, you're in charge. Can you handle that, boss man?
Oh, I can handle it if I can ever get to the point to where we can get it turned over and ready to go. Then I can handle it. I'm a little concerned about that still, but we'll get it done one way or the other. You just gotta be determined.
Yeah, well, we're
If
pretty.
I have to do it with the matic, that's what I'll do, I guess.
We're pretty determined folks.
Yeah, you are anyway. You're pretty stubborn.
Is that the pot calling the kettle black?
I ain't stubborn a bit. I'm easy going.
Matt's very stubborn.
You think so? Even still,
Yeah.
I ain't stubborn as I used to be.
No, you've mellowed somewhat, but
Just a little bit.
just a little. You're still pretty stubborn. Well, we hope you enjoyed seeing what Matt cooked his girls supper tonight. What he cooked for us for supper. It was mighty good eating. And hope you enjoyed visiting with us. And we're always glad when you stop by to help us celebrate Appalachia.